Okay, so now I'm finally starting to like map out the frame. I'm just using these clamps to clamp everything nice and flush. I just lined it up with the top of that ridge, the one I was talking about earlier. So it is gonna like hang over a little bit. Like there's like a lip right here, but there's like plenty of contact right here, which is where I'm gonna put like the butyl tape and like the sealant and stuff like that. And then I'm also gonna be flipping this up to like attach it to this side also. I'm gonna like flip it and screw it that way. And then this side, I messed up again, just like I did with the front. I forgot to add the extra bits for the flip, but I think this is actually better because then I can like, once I like bolt it with the bolts and clamp it down really tight, I'll be able to get it like right up against that. I'm actually debating bringing this way a little bit more because the more in this way these come, the less gap there is right there. I'm kind of wondering if I should just do that, but then it's kind of weird because it like dips right here, so I don't know what I should do. Because then it'll be easier to bolt it in too, because then it won't be so far back that way where I have to reach it. I could just bring it right here, which is much easier to, it'll be easier to get the nut in there. I don't have to like bolt it through. So yeah, I'm gonna bring it in a little bit. Okay, so I'm bringing it in from this ridge line as the edge right here to now it's gonna be in the middle of this dip is where I'm gonna line up this bottom edge. Oh my God, yes. So my plan worked. I brought it in to halfway over that dip. Now there's less hangover, so there will be more point of contact with all the sealant and stuff underneath this. And it'll be easier to get the nuts and bolts through since it's closer to me now. And this will be nice and flush once I have it all bolted. It's obviously not flush right now because it's keeping this board down. But yeah, same thing on this side. So now I'm gonna measure from there to there so I know what length to cut the back piece. And then I'm gonna measure out what the front pieces are gonna look like. Okay, so the back section is gonna be 51 inches long. Okay, so now I'm gonna measure from here all the way to the back. And these are 2x4 by 16s. And the length for the sides will be 152.5. Okay, so that covers the bottom side, the sides on the bottom, but now the sides on the top are gonna be starting at the same point over there, but stopping like right here at the door. Cause this whole area right here in the front is gonna be covered so that it's like an attic above the cab area. So I want the house area to stop right here. So that's where a pole is gonna come up right here and then come down at an angle to the front. All right, so that top beam is gonna be 129 inches. Then I marked out where that flat front piece is gonna go. It's just gonna be a straight piece. And then now I'm measuring from the end of that one to where it meets the side pole, which is 19 inches. And it'll have to be cut like at an angle. You can already see that one's like kind of at an angle. It just happened to work out that that's the right angle. But I'm gonna have to do another angle here too. This would be 90 degrees. This side piece is gonna have to be cut at like that angle, just ever so slightly. And then as far as how tall each of the supporting beams are gonna be, I want the total height to be 2 feet. So I'm gonna do 2 feet minus 2 times however tall these are, which is about 1.5. I also changed that. It was 4 to 8 because not only are we gonna need them for the top and the bottom of the front and the back, we're also gonna need one going across at every supporting vertical beam. So we're gonna have one, two, three, 4 extra. So that took it from 4 to 8. And as far as these ones going from the front angled over to the house space, I'm not sure what length those are gonna be because I'm not about to do a bunch of geometry. So we're just gonna wait until we get to that stage to just manually angle it and measure it. Okay, so I went and marked all of my cut lines. So far it has taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of these 16-foot long 2x4s. So that has covered all of these that we need. So after I cut those out, all we're gonna need is these front pieces and the front pieces going up. And then that should be all the framing that we need. So let's just start with the 13-inch piece. There's not gonna be any angles on this one. Okay, it's hard to show you because I need 2 hands to really do it, but I'm using the protractor to figure out the angle of this little corner. It goes kind of forward and then straight across and then kind of back. So I'm trying to figure out the angles right here, right here, right here, and right here. Okay, yeah, let's line it up. And it's hitting just about on the 10 degree. When I did it like more accurately with both hands, it came out to around like 8 degrees. So just ever so slightly at an angle. And there you have it, our other angle. So we started at perfectly 90 degrees and shifted it by 8 degrees. So now we have 2 lines going that way for the left side and then 2 lines going that way for the right side. So this is it. This one came out much better because the line, I was just able to cut it like cleaner. This one is a little like wonky, but something worth noting is that if you line this up right here, there's a slight difference in length down here. And that's because when you cut something at an angle, it makes that side longer than if it was just like this. So if this were a more dramatic angle, I would have to split the degree of that angle between the 2 sides and they'll match up. But since this is like such a small angle, it works, it does the job. As long as the front is lined up, that's all that matters. This is gonna be inside the attic, so it doesn't need to look pretty. So now to prep for assembling all the frame pieces tomorrow, I have started folding over the edge. That's like the lip that I was talking about earlier. Gonna use this as like extra security barrier for water to get in, and also I'm gonna screw these into the sides of the framing boards just for like extra strength to keep it all attached to the van. Since I know that like the wood is gonna come to the middle of this divot, I just marked with tape all along the edge. So that way I could just go in with my little pliers and go all the way along the edge. So now I'm gonna do that to this side and that side. I was gonna do it to the front and the back, but like I said earlier, I messed up and didn't add enough to the front and the edge, or the front and the back. So last night I finished folding over the edges here and here. And today we're finally gonna get to assembling. I have all the pieces cut out for the frame. Gonna start assembling some of the frame pieces in here in the garage, but I'm not gonna attach anything to the van because obviously it's gonna be too tall to drive out of the garage once I have the frame on. So once I have some of the pieces like together, then we'll take the van out and put the pieces on the van. Oh, I should probably get the angle grinder and take these pieces off because I don't want them sticking out. Like they come out like pretty far. But I'm gonna leave these ones. That way I can screw down the cab board, the one that goes across right here that separates the attic from the house. I think I'm gonna leave those there. Okay, I got it lined up. This is the back. I don't have like a pocket hole jig. I guess I could try to make my own pocket holes just with my drill bit. And then I'm gonna use these 3.5 like heavy duty screws, and they're coated so they won't rust. So I have a couple of boxes of this, so I'm gonna just like pew, 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 pew. Now I'm thinking that maybe one should go this way and then one should go that way, just for like extra strength. So I'm gonna do that instead. So I'm gonna use these to kind of create some pocket holes. I'm just gonna like get it started. I wish I had longer ones, but this is just all I had. Okay, I switched to the bit that it came with, and I'm gonna screw them in now. It's pretty long, so we don't want too much of an angle, because then it'll just hit the ground. These like stick up, so just be aware of that, but I don't think the boards are going to be like touching these parts specifically, so that should be fine. That should be my catchphrase. That should be fine. Good enough. Got those. Now I'm going to do these. So now I'm prepping for the butyl tape. So I'm hitting it with the alcohol, just wiping down really good, getting all the dust and stuff off the edges where the butyl tape is gonna go. And then since I don't have a tack cloth, I'm just gonna use a rubber glove to like wipe away the little dust fibers. And then I'm gonna do like one side at a time. So I'm gonna do this side first, prep it, butyl tape it, and then I'm gonna do like that side and then that side, you know, just one side at a time. So that way dust doesn't fall onto it while I'm like doing the other ones. And this is what I'm using. I just ordered this on Amazon. That's how thick it is. And I think it's like an inch wide. This is like what they use to seal doors and windows, and it's like weatherproof. So this is gonna last a long time in terms of like sealant, and it's not gonna like disintegrate after like a short amount of time. So this is really good. It's like rubbery, like putty. It's really sticky, so that's why it makes a really good seal, because then when you screw everything down, it'll like squeeze this all out. It'll like conform to all the cracks and create a super watertight seal. I'll be applying it like right up to the edge of this ridge, maybe just hanging over just a little bit, but most of the point of contact is going to be on this side of the ridge. So I'm just going to go all the way down. And you don't want to remove both sides. You just want to like unroll it with the other side covered until you're ready to put that on. And then for this back edge, since the wood is going to be coming right up to the edge of this, I'm going to do the butyl tape like almost up to the very edge. That way when it cinches down, it has a little bit of space to like squeeze out. So yeah, probably like an quarter of an inch from the edge. That's where I'm gonna put the tape. I think next time I would probably get a wider version of this, like 1.5 inches or maybe even 2 inches, because it's not like even, it's not all the same width throughout the entire roll. Sometimes it seems to get like kind of skinny. Like right here it got really skinny, and so there was less coverage, which I don't like, but I think this should be fine. Since I had extra, I added a bunch extra in the corner. I did another one like right here, and then another one right here, and then one of them going across that way, because there might be more of a gap at every corner. So I'm gonna do that for all 4 corners. I don't think I'll need it on these little joints, but if I have extra, I might. Now it's time to scooch this into position, and then once it's like in its spot, I'm gonna like shimmy, I'm gonna like lift it up, shimmy the little strips out. Not sure how I'm gonna do this, because I don't want it to like touch after it's exposed and then me have to lift it back up. So I'm gonna have to, we'll see. I'm gonna see if I could even get it over the lips, because it might be kind of a tight squeeze, so I'm gonna figure that out first. Okay, yeah, so it's not quite going over the lips, so I'm just gonna get my pliers and like pull it out and let it drop in as I'm pulling it out, and then that'll be fine, because later on when I screw it into the side right here, it'll pull it back in. She fits once everything's bolted down. Everything will be in the corners. She's fitting nice and snug. Perfect. Back here, got it right at the corner. Oop, see, it's caught on the lip right here. There we go. Yep. And there is a gap right now, but that's why we put the extra butyl tape over there. And then also, if there's still a little bit of a gap, I could just go in with some silicone, which I am anyways. Like once it's all bolted down, I'm gonna go underneath from the outside and do silicone all along the edges, just to make it extra sealed. All right, we're outside now, because in a little bit I'm gonna start building it up. So now I'm gonna reach in and pull all the tape, or all the protective covering from the butyl tape. I'm gonna remove it all, and then I'm gonna clamp down all the corners, so that way everything is nice and sealed and ready for the bolts. I forgot to do the silicone. I can't do it all the way down like I wanted to anymore, because there's just too much wood already exposed to the butyl tape. So I'm just gonna cake it in like on the corners. Okay, so I just added like a shit ton into the corners. It's gonna make a mess because I didn't do it properly how I wanted to, but it's better than nothing. And then we're also gonna silicone from the outside once it's all bolted in. So this is just an extra precaution. So now I'm gonna clamp it down. I have 3 packs of 15 of these hex bolts, and then a 50 pack of the matching nuts. And then a long 5/16 drill bit to drill the holes all the way through. So I'm gonna drill all the holes and then put the bolts in. Since these are 5/16, 5/16 and 5/16 washers. I'm gonna put the washers on the top, and I wanted to put them on the bottom, but since I'm gonna have to like get in there, I don't think that's gonna be possible, so the bolts are gonna have to do, I guess. Unless I could figure out a way to get these onto the bottom too. That would be ideal. We'll see how it works out. Starting with the corners. So we're going all the way through, and it's hard to tell on camera, but you can see that it's like right at the edge where the ridge goes up, which is perfect because that's where the butyl tape is. Okay, so another problem that I'm running into is that these bolts are going to be too long, because I got the 3-inch ones because I bought some 2x4s, but technically these are only 1.5 inches by 3.5. I don't know why they're called 2x4s when they're not 2x4. So hopefully the more I tighten it, the more, I don't know how I'm gonna fix that problem, but I'm just gonna see how far I can get with this one. Okay, so that actually worked pretty well. It is like touching the bottom, but I think there comes a point where instead of pushing this down, it just brings that up, which is actually really good. For these ones, since it's accessible, I did put a washer on the bottom and the top, and then I'm probably just gonna angle grind the excess. And actually, since I have it accessible, I might super glue. Honestly, some bigger washers would have been way better, but this is all they had in the same like diameter at the store, so I figured it's better than nothing. And then that's also why I'm securing it here also. That way, if any of these bolts fail, it'll still be attached right here. I'm using a little mallet if it needs some help getting in the hole. Instead of doing this one, I'm gonna do 2 more like closer to the corner rather than one right here and one right there, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to get this corner one. So I think 2 like near the corner is gonna be good. And I'm just super gluing like a pretty healthy dollop of some Loctite super glue, just so as I'm driving, it'll be less likely for the vibrations to make the nut come off. And then right here, in order to keep like the natural spacing that it already came with, because I don't want to like warp this whole part by like pulling it all together when there's supposed to be a gap, I'm just gonna put some super glue on one of these and wedge it in there before I start screwing the nut down here. That way it'll sandwich this little spacer and keep it there. And see that where it's squeezing out? That is what we like to see, because that means it's nice and sealed. Okay, now that we got all the corners secured, I'm gonna start working on the rest. I'm gonna see how many I can easily access along the sides, and if I can't get that many, then I'm gonna have to like come up with a different plan. Okay, so yeah, definitely gonna have to drill through this layer of metal and now this layer of metal, which is like another little lip, because if your screws are too long, it'll push this up, which like intensifies the bowing of the sides, which we don't want. But if you screw through both of them, it'll cinch it down and make it more flat. So that's actually the better. Wow, okay. And so now with that new technique, the 3-inch bolts are going to be the perfect size, because once I tighten this, it'll be perfect. And I'm also going to do a spacer right here. Okay, so it got dark pretty quick, but it's only like 5 p.m. so I'm gonna keep working. We got all the corners, we got some in this side, we have 2 in the middle, and then some back there, 2 in the middle right there. So I think that's enough for now, so that I could take the clamps off and start building the rest of the frame, and then I'll go back later and finish bolting everything and screwing the sides and like really making it secure. But just so I can get the rest of it built before it rains, hopefully I can get most of it done tonight, I'm just gonna leave it as is. I still had a lot of that silicone left in the tube after squirting some in the corners, so I just went ahead and started working on the silicone underneath the edges. So now I'm gonna start attaching the vertical posts, and I'm just gonna prep them all by doing 2 pocket holes, or makeshift pocket holes. That way we can just drill 2 in each one straight down into this part. Okay, and that's what they look like all prepped. Got them started. Make the process way easier. We're gonna have it lined up flush with the edge, like so. And I've decided to do them this way rather than this way because my insulation isn't going to be that thick, and so I don't want like a bunch of empty space between like the outside wall and the inside wall. So this will also give me 2 inches extra for my cabinets to go in, so that just creates extra space for me inside the house part if I do this way. We got them all up. But I do have to cut 2 more because right here where the attic space is gonna be, if I wanted them every 2 feet, there was gonna be like this last one was gonna be like extra wide up into the attic. But then I decided that I'd rather just have like 1 more, like extra one that's like close together rather than be missing one, because you know, why not have a little extra support? So I'm gonna go cut 2 more 21 inches and then put those on there, and then I'm gonna start assembling the pieces for the top part. I was not expecting to take this long to do the framing, but having to go to the store 3 times today because I needed like some more supplies this morning, then I needed another drill, but then the first store that I went to didn't have it in stock, so then I had to go to another store looking for a different drill. And yeah, so that took like 3-4 hours of my day. That wasted a lot of time. And then doing the bolt holes to get everything attached to the body of the car, that took way longer than I expected, and I didn't even do like half of them, and I didn't even screw in like to the lip. So definitely expect to spend like a whole day just bolting the base of the frame to the body of the van. And boom, just like that, we have a rectangle. Okay, one mistake was I moved this one too far that way. It was supposed to be on the inside of that line. So now it's 1 pole too short. So I'll just move that one right there. First, I'm gonna go into the corners and secure those down, so that way it'll be a little bit more stable while I do the rest. And now we're switching to the 2.5 screws, since the sides of that is 1.5 inches. That'll give us 1 inch in there, because I don't have any longer ones, but that should be fine. Another mistake that I did not anticipate is that is too short, but that's because this like curves down, so by the time it gets to the corner it's shorter than the rest. Dude, this thing is massive. I got like the biggest tarp in the world. That's crazy. Calling it a day now. This is a little sneak peek. So this thing's gonna be pretty tall. I'm 5'2". A little sneak peek. Okay, it is day 3 of the roof extension build. I have to go put the horizontal beams across. All right, she's officially ready for the ceiling. And that was a little difficult to do it, put them up there by myself. At first I was using clamps, but it was actually more annoying to try to get the clamps to stay rather than just flinging it like over my shoulder and like holding it with one hand and then support with my shoulder and then screwing it in with the other hand. Once one side was like kind of in, I just moved to the other side, got that one in, and then afterwards I really drove the screws in for like the final touch. So it wasn't too hard, but a little difficult at first. Stay tuned for the next video where I'll be putting up the walls. If you have any like comments or tips or thoughts about this whole build, let me know in the comments, and be nice please. Not a lot of people have done this before, so I didn't really have too much information to go off of, but just a little sneak peek of how it turned out. So far so good, so don't doubt me too much, and give this video a like, comment, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for the next video.